Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Random Chatter. In this, yet another episode with our new format, we are going to go over the lightning round, the 10 things that you need to know this week. Like, you need to know these things. Or else. I don't know or else what, but you don't want to find out. So, just follow along and we are going to bring you news about some new releases and a couple of renewals and some other things. We are going to start out with some streaming information. I think really this first item attests to how desperate we've become in the pandemic. Like, we'll watch anything, right? I mean, at this point, Coming to America is the first streaming exclusive movie to hit #1 during the pandemic. Like, that's how desperate.
But #1 where? What was
That's a good question. So this is according to the Digital Entertainment Group / Screen Engine / ASI's Video on Demand weekend ratings.
Okay.
It's hard to tell because none of these streaming services really want to release numbers, but somebody out there, I guess, is trying to track numbers and they've been releasing some kind of report, but I don't know anything about how accurate it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, though, if you look back over the last year, how many exclusively streaming movies would have gotten as much attention as Coming to America. Everything else I can think of made some appearance in theaters at the same time, even if it was only the 4 or 5 theaters open. You know, Wonder Woman, Soul, all of those appeared in theaters somehow. Tenet was in theaters for a while. So anyway, yeah, Coming to America. Yay. I'm sorry. If you missed our review show, you'll know I wasn't a big fan. Tim thought it was pretty good. Have you seen it yet, Lou?
Yeah, okay. I thought it was pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm the outlier. That's fine. So another wonderful movie, Tom and Jerry.
This, on the other hand,
made the second best theatrical opening of the pandemic. It's been a long time since we've tracked box office numbers,
wild.
like actual real box office numbers.
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman 84 still holds the record since the pandemic with 16.4 million for the opening. And Tom and Jerry made 13.7 million. Non-pandemic, those are like embarrassing numbers. And with the pandemic, it takes like a tent pole to hit 16 million. So there you go. I know Tom and Jerry, though, almost became a much better movie because for a lot of people, when they went to stream Tom and Jerry last week, they ended up with Zack Snyder's Justice League instead. Did you hear about that?
How did that happen? Yeah, I heard
Somebody
about that.
flipped a pointer to the file the wrong way in the server or something, and it ran for like a good hour before anybody caught it. People were posting screenshots and everything, but yeah, that was a real thing. And then Warner Brothers caught it and pulled the plug, but that would have gotten me to watch Tom and Jerry. All right. So this one, now, Lou, I know you have read a lot of Stephen King. So I kind of like to get your opinion on this because I hope maybe you've read the short story for this. Running Man, which I think was one of the Bachman books. I'm not sure.
I believe it was, yeah. Yep.
Kind of different from the movie. The movie took place in kind of like an arena. And the short story took place like out in the real world. The guy in this contest could go literally anywhere. I don't know which of those two versions is being adapted, but Edgar Wright, from the director and creator of Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, he's developing a Running Man adaptation for Paramount.
Interesting.
Tim, have you read the short story, or I don't know how well versed you are with Stephen King stuff?
No.
Okay.
Not much at all.
I did. I read it like a long time ago. I would say that if they do a take on the book, I can't wait to see this. If it's just kind of a remake of the Schwarzenegger movie, like, I'm curious. I'm okay with it. Not excited. But if it's like someone actually running around in the real world being hunted, like the entire country has a bounty on this guy, and he's trying to survive out in the real world, that's a whole different story.
It would be cool. And there's been other stories similar to that have been played out here and there. I mean, and I think it's a good story. I didn't care for the Arnold Schwarzenegger, version. I should say it was good for Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It was fun. It was a popcorn flick. It really wasn't in the spirit of what the original book was. Close, but not
the tone was very different between the two.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be up to see this if it's based on the book.
Yeah, I hope it is. We don't know too much about it yet, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. Reese and Wernick, the two, I believe they were the writers on Deadpool. They are developing a series on, I don't know whether to be scared about this or not, on the Twisted Metal video game series.
Oh God, that
Tim
goes
just
back.
chuckled. Tim, you're a PlayStation guy. You play Twisted Metal?
I have a long time ago.
Well, they haven't been out for a long time ago, right? I mean,
they ended, a while back.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, it was a PlayStation classic, and they had multiple, Twisted Metal 2, Twisted Metal 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of a battle royale of different, think the battle arenas from Mario Kart, only not cartoony, and with like Mad Max style vehicles, where like the main villain in the game is a clown driving an ice cream cart with like, I don't know, machine guns and rocket launchers and stuff all over it.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool game.
I think I played the first one. That was it.
I think I played I think I started with the second one. Played the second, a little bit of the third.
I'm older than you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So, back in your college days. No, but that's true. Like, right? Did I get it right this time?
Yes.
See? I got it right and you're still old. Okay. Anyway.
I mean, this is one of those things that when they try to do something that is like a literal adaptation of a video game, it usually falls flat on its face.
Yeah.
But when they can say that something was inspired by one, there is a better chance of success because, really only until fairly recently did video games actually have good stories behind them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was just you're this character, you're in this world, here's this bad guy, no other explanation. That's it.
There were very few exceptions.
Yeah. So, when they would try to go after that, it just wouldn't work. But there are other things. I mean, we look at, I know I mentioned it a ton on Random Chatter, the Castlevania anime on Netflix. Castlevania, the series of games, they built their own world pretty well within the games. They built their own lore. And now we have what is probably, at least to me, one of the most successful, one of the most well done adaptations of a video game story into something that's on the screen.
Yeah.
So many things just fall apart. So, it could work. It could work. Conceptually, and really, just as you described it, Eric, I mean, you really have a very Mad Maxy kind of thing. Right. That post-apocalyptic stuff works.
Yeah. And you don't have to do a lot of depth with it. You do need a story of some sort.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there was no story behind these games, though, right?
No,
I mean, I'm trying to remember back. It was a demolition derby of sorts, and it was different arenas, and some were in cities and stuff. But there was no story behind. Like, there was no backstory for who the clown was. He's the only character I remember from the show.
Who is confirmed to be in the show? By the way,
it makes sense. He is, but what's his now? If they develop a story for him, fine. But it's got you got to have a story. You got to develop that story. It's got to be compelling for me to want to watch this, because otherwise there's nothing there to watch.
Well, it's being billed as an action comedy.
Oh, good Lord.
And it's being written by the guys who did Deadpool. And listen, Deadpool had a good script.
Yeah.
It really did.
It did.
I will fight that one to the death.
Action comedy video game has just disaster written all over
I know.
me.
I know. It'll be interesting. I mean, worst case scenario, it'll be a big death match, demolition derby, and hey, it'll be fun to watch.
It could work.
It could.
You know what it needs? It needs a kaiju.
No, it really doesn't.
Right, Tim?
Well, it needs a Jaeger.
Lou, I got another question for you because I know you'll remember this because your age and all that. Back in the 80s, come on. Not even going right. We're not even going back that far. So in the 1980s, Pepsi, and I know Tim, you remember this too. They had the Pepsi Points promotions.
Oh yeah.
Where you drank Pepsi, you take the cap off the bottle, you had a little like point thing.
Yep.
And they had this big promotion where you could redeem it for points. You could get T-shirts and baseball caps and video games and like more expensive items. And in the TV commercial, just as a joke, they also had you could redeem like 7 million of them and get a Harrier jet.
I remember that.
Some guy who his kidneys left him long ago apparently saved up 7 million points, Pepsi points, and tried to redeem them for the jet. And Pepsi was apparently like, wait, what now? No, that was just
talk about
joke.
How bad Pepsi's attorneys were then?
Yeah.
Hey, great commercial, good promotion. Don't promise stuff you can't deliver.
There needs to be a disclaimer on there saying not actual prize.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much a Harrier jet cost, whether today or back in the 80s. But I'm sure that the Pepsi points, whatever profit Pepsi made off of that many bottles, still did not even come close to a Harrier jet. And the guy sued. So Apple TV is
good for him. Hey.
Yeah. Apple TV is making a documentary about that whole thing. It's by the same guys who did the documentary, which is not on Apple TV. I think this was HBO, on the big McDonald's Monopoly scam. Which, by the way, it's called McMillions.
I used to play that so much, and like through all the iterations of it.
Have you watched the documentary?
And I actually haven't.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Either.
So much of that for me was fueled by the fact that it wasn't the first run of it, but some of their subsequent runs. I worked at a sporting goods store in the mall, and while I didn't eat a lot of McDonald's stuff, whenever they did the Monopoly thing, I started eating McDonald's then. And so like I would collect all that stuff.
Yep.
And, I think the most I ever got out of it was, free food.
I know one person who got a computer. At the time it was valued like a little over $1,000 or something like that. But in all those years, that's the only person I know that's actually gotten anything substantial. But this documentary, and it's the people who actually got roped into doing the crimes. So it's actual bad guys telling the stories in the documentary. It is incredible. You have to watch it. It's called McMillions. But anyway, they are doing a documentary on this. I think it's just called The Jet. And it's going to be coming to Apple TV. There was another thing, another similar lawsuit. Manager of a Hooters had some kind of contest for the waitresses there. Something about customer service or tips or whatever. And the highest performing waitress is going to win a Toyota. And so, they worked their butts off for the month. And at the end of the month, they announced
I heard about this
who won it. And she was all excited. And they go out to the parking lot. And here in the middle of the parking lot is this little stuffed Yoda doll, which is a toy. And it's Yoda. It's toy Yoda. Yeah. And she sued. And Hooters had to buy her a car.
Wow.
Good. Yes.
Because, hey, the impression that manager gave to everyone was that they were getting a vehicle.
And there was no question about it because the manager walked outside and laughed at her when she went out for her car. So it was clear. Anyway, moving on. Couple of quick things before we head out here. The flight attendant, you watched that, right, Tim?
Oh, yeah, loved it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did too.
Really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I liked it too. I didn't think I was going to, and I really did. It's coming back for season 2, but not this year. It's going to be spring of next year, so we've got a little bit of a long wait.
Okay.
Wild cards. I tried to get into this. I couldn't because it starts out as a period piece, but it's a universe created by George R.R. Martin from Game of Thrones. And some sort of big, like, cosmic radiated asteroid material something falls on the Earth back in the 40s. And people get, like, basically either they get superpowers or they get deformed. But there's a whole universe.
I've actually never heard of this.
Oh, it's actually got a massive following. And it's been around since I started collecting comic books, like back before I started. So probably late 80s or so, mid 80s.
Wow, really? Okay.
It's a massive universe. There have been many novels, many graphic novels. In fact, it lost out to Watchmen for the, is it the Gemini Award or the Nebula Award? I think it's the Nebula Award. It's so big, like other authors have come in and written in that universe as well.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
It's like a big deal.
Like,
and they've been,
I'm sure I must have like seen the titles, but it just like over my head. So
was this originally an Image Comics back in like the 90s?
This was before Image.
Really? Because I thought I remember reading Image Wild Cards.
Oh, there was an Image title called Wildcats.
No, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, okay.
I'll have to see if I can. I'm sure they're probably you can get some of it on Comixology.
Without question,
I'll have to check
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sample it and see what
So the story starts out like in the 1940s and World War II and all that. And then I guess it proceeds to today. And of course, because, it started in the 1940s and it was a slow burn because it's George R.R. Martin and there's lots of words and it's, and so I couldn't get into it. But I'd love to see a series or movies or something based on it. And apparently, he's been trying to get this up and running for a while, and it's happening, and it was going to be on Hulu. It's now moving from Hulu to Peacock, which is still kind of in-house. NBC owns both. And it's still coming. So continue to hold on for that. And then finally, Outlander's getting renewed for a 7th season, if you're a fan of that. That's been around for a long time. And Marvel is re-releasing several of the comic book series related to Scarlet Witch and Vision, to include the Vision limited run from a few years back, which was really, really good. And I guess like House of M and other things that are, with the popularity of WandaVision, you can't find these books anymore. Can't find the graphic novels anymore. And Marvel's bringing those back to print. So that's
cool.
it. That's our lightning round. One of our shortest episodes ever.
Yeah.
Very
awesome.
Good.
So
our new format, folks. Let us know what you think.
Yes, definitely let us know what you think. I think for the people who watch us on YouTube, this is actually going to be much easier to consume these smaller shows. For the audience in the, I almost said audible podcasts, but the audio podcasts, hopefully it will be too. You'll get them more frequently and they'll be shorter and easier to digest on your commute. That's kind of the goal. But give us feedback. Let us know what you think. Head over to randomchatter.com. You can find all of our audio podcasts there, as well as instructions on how to get into the Discord server, how to help support the network on Patreon. And then finally, if you'd like to watch us on YouTube, head over to randomchatter.com/YouTube, hit that subscribe and like button. There's a notification button down there that now that we're going to be releasing them more frequently, you might want to hit that too. And that's it. We're going to be back soon with more content. So until then,